is this? It's become my lifestyle. So, but in terms of getting things going, we're going to have to get started here. We have one more panelist coming. So before we begin, we had the very sad, tragic news of the passing of actually our relative, brother-in-law, Zubin Garg, who's really a major music icon in the whole Northeast and all over India. We're going to have a proper tribute a little bit later, but we just like to start out with just 30-second, 1-minute moment of silence in memoriam to Zubin Garg, who did so much for so many people. I had the pleasure of knowing him, meeting him a number of times, and seeing all that he did for the community, and his age, way too young to go. So let's just have a moment of silence here for Zubin, please. Thank you so much for that. So I'm very pleased to be hosting, my wife and I, Paula, this is the first ever Northeast Festival in North America. So it's a small beginning, definitely kind of local, Wala, you could say Desi, which means a sort of local country almost, But this is really exciting to bring together all these participants from all different regions in the Northeast. And so in this panel, we're going to be looking at 3 main topics: tourism, economy, and environment. And we'll go ahead, and I will now pass the microphone to Jay.
Thank you, Hans, and it's been incredible to be here. Like Hans said, the first Northeast Festival in Columbus, the beautiful state of Ohio, the heart of it all, obviously. And we hope that this festival gets sustained over the years. Our main goal is obviously to bring the rich heritage of Northeast to North America. And thank you first of all to Utpala and Hans for visualizing this and conceptualizing this and finally implementing it. So with that, I'll shortly introduce the panel. We will have 8 panelists, and one of them will be doing online with the video. We'll go around the table 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll have you guys ask them questions. And before that, we will have inter-panel discussion if they want to ask each other. And then finally, we'll have you guys ask questions. So with that, let me open up the panel. First, again, it's just random the way we selected, is Arunachal Pradesh, and we have Mr. Raj. Here, yep. He's here. So I'll just give a quick bio. So Mr. Raj Sutar was born in 1971 in Bomdila, small town in Arunachal Pradesh, East Kameng district. He has 5 siblings. All of them were born in Arunachal. And when he was 2, that's what he said, he grew up playing with friends, swimming in local rivers, and letting nature be his playground. He often walked miles through the forest to collect firewood, because that's the way it was cooked at that time. Countless picnics on riverbanks in beautiful Arunachal Pradesh. And he went to Kendriya Vidyalaya School in Naharlagun and graduated from Itanagar High School in 1989. And after finishing his college in Bangalore, he married Rekha. Is Rekha here? So there's the beautiful Rekha, so his best friend. And he says she knows how to cook good Northeast food, and that is his greatest weakness. So he's been in US for over 24 years, moving from Milwaukee to Columbus, and then his daughter Anshika is in the University of Cincinnati. Son Kian is a high school freshman, and even though he says he's been away from Arunachal for a long time, but the rivers, friends, and flavors of his childhood are still with him. So let's give a warm welcome to Raj. So Mr. Raj, just a quick question for you, and obviously Arunachal Pradesh has been in the forefront of tourism, won 2 international awards, International Tourism Conclave Award, and the International Travel Mart Award, very prestigious. So I want to talk about the ITM, the Trademark Award. What are your thoughts on using tourism to encourage visitors and organizations to invest in the economic development of Arunachal Pradesh and provide more employment opportunities to the youth of your beautiful state?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm very, very excited to be part of this union. You know, we don't get to do the Northeast Union, and it feels so close to home. It kind of takes me back to where I grew up as a child and as a youth, and just not traveling within the Arunachal, but all other state within the Northeast, Meghalaya, you know, Shillong. I do remember going there multiple times. Cannot escape Assam. You know, every time you go Arunachal, you have to go through the Assam. Assam is like another home for me, because my wife is also from Assam. So, and I've traveled Manipur, Mizoram. So, I mean, we are just kind of all like a brother, sister there, right? It's like it's coming together in one place. It feels like it takes back our memory where we grew up, right? Also, I mean, I also wanted to really remember Jubin Garg, like we just did the silence for him. I may not know every single detail about him like my Assamese brother and sister do, but whatever I have known about him, some of the songs I have heard, he's excellently talented. He's not just a singer, he's just a writer, you know, composer, music director, actor, you just name it. But he left us very early age. He had a long life ahead of him, but we are just so sorry to hear that loss, and we hope that we pray for him. Coming back to your question, right? So, 2 awards Arunachal won recently. One is India International Travel Mart Award, and another is a conclave, right? These are not a monetary award. These are the award that kind of recognize. It shows the state of Arunachal, their commitment towards making the state more tourist-friendly, promoting the things that state has to offer. You know, growing up as a child, I used to think that how much we are been presented in the national level and also in the international level. Things are changing now, and these are some of the awards. It shows that Northeast has been taken seriously. You know, we had this impression that we are from the backward part of the India. We are no communication, nothing. But it is shifting different. You know, it is a gem of the India, what I would say, that what Northeast has to offer, no other part of the India has to offer. It's so diverse landscape, culture, people, and it's just a pristine. And I hope that now we are opening the door, and these awards kind of represent that it is giving us a chance to really present ourselves in front of the national level, also in the international level. So, although, like I said, this is not a monetary award, but it gives a kind of more like a branding status for us to really go in front and present, saying that this is what we have earned. We continue to commit ourselves, doing it better, and using this award to capitalize, promote tourism is a beginning, just a beginning. And you know, you can use this award to really attract the investor in hospitality business. And then once people recognize that, yeah, there is a potential of tourism. By the way, these awards are mainly for natural beauty and adventurous, you know, things that state has to offer. So it means a lot. It can be used as a platform to really attract the investor for hospitality business. Once you have that, then you have, you know, tourists get attracted too. You know, every time you go to the places, tourists wanted to make sure that they have a good accessibility of the road, accommodation, food, in addition to what they are going for, right? Otherwise, it's a camping. It's not just a tourist destination, right? So there's nothing wrong. I love doing camping, but we have to really, when we promote the tourism, we have to make sure that we are really considering all walk of the life. You know, not everybody want to do camping, but you know, but I'm sure everybody in this world want to see the beauty in the nature. You know, be a part of that, whether by foot or by car. So I think it's a beginning, and once you have this hospitality business picking up, You also have a people, other kind of, it also integrate to the local culture there, right? People, we can integrate our local culture, handloom, dance, song, that as a part of the tourist package, we can offer it in addition to the beauty of the state. And that kind of promotes, again, creating the local job. Youth has been such as me, traveling out, leaving the state because there is not much job opportunity, right? Having this kind of a promoting and making a tourism also one of the very strong, attractive means of bringing the fund and earning is good. It keeps a lot of the youth within the state, right? So, and now Arunachal has got the new airport also, the limited flights, but you cannot justify more number of flights unless we have more tourists coming, more travel coming. So in a way, I wanted to say that it's all interconnected. It's a step towards where we're moving in the right direction, but I see a lot of future. It's just a beginning, and I hope that state will continue to promote such kind of tourism, earn more and more award, not only in domestic level, but at international level also. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj, for his wonderful explanation. At this point, I'll give it to my friend to introduce the next panelist.
Okay. And I'll just make one statement that kind of inspired us to do this whole festival is our project of looking at traditional cultures through the whole region. And in fact, like this scarf is from Boroland, which is a whole other thing. But I think it's very important in the tourism to preserve the unique aspects of each region, not just to become homogenized, right? Not just to become resort, this and that. So that's really, that's the real treasure is not only the nature, but the culture and the people. But, all right, so I'm gonna introduce here Chandan Mahanta, Chandan Mahanta. So Chandan Mahanta is a retired architect based in St. Louis, Missouri. Originally from Namti, Assam, he studied at Namti High School, Don Bosco High School in Guwahati, and Cotton College before earning his degree in architecture from IIT Kharagpur in 1968. He emigrated to the United States in 1970. Mahanta is married to Dr. Banti of Guwahati. They have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and 4 grandchildren. Following his retirement from architectural practice, he has devoted himself full-time to his many interests, including watercolor painting, photography, gardening, native plant landscaping, and beekeeping. So here's the question for you. Advantage Assam 2.0 was recently held to address key areas for economic growth and investment in the state, both in traditional and emerging industries. As they say, to achieve something, you have to dream first, and why not dream bigs? So what are your dreams for Assam? And what will be your idea of building a strong brand built around made in Assam products, leveraging the state's rich heritage?
Well, it's a big subject, but okay. Okay, all right. As you said, Hans, I think it is important to really have goals, dreams, and dream big. I am not quite qualified to address nitty-gritties of industry practice and economies and so forth. However, I like to dream. It's my business. And so in that, I have several things. But first one, I will touch is more realistic. It's not even a big dream. Is exploitation or use of bamboo, a natural resource, in a way engineered and made into more durable, more beautiful, and an extremely versatile product, not only for construction, but also for crafts and furniture making and so on and so forth. Now, I am in architecture, and I remember 1967, I think, there was a class project. One of our teachers said, you design something, design a house, including only one material. And that could be a pretty tough subject, but it was very easy for me because I grew up in a bamboo house, and I knew how to build with bamboo. And what I put together was quite a hit, because not very many people have seen an all bamboo house where I was going to school. And that idea has stayed with me, and I also translated that idea to my eldest brother at the time. He also picked up on bamboo and was a big advocate of a bamboo construction in the Northeast. Not just the Northeast, he exported bamboo to other parts of India as well. Now, the key lies in being engineered bamboo, to modernize it, and in a way, it is treated proper for longer lasting, and made into elements that can be easily used, can be marketed easily. Like you begin to see a lot of those things that's coming from China today. Bamboo floorboards, bamboo dowels, and bamboo furniture. All of those can be done in the Northeast extremely well, and utilizing native know-how, but using modern, scientific and engineering methods. Another thing that I would like to touch upon bamboo is our local bamboo that grows in the tropics. They're clump forming, they bend, and they're very fibrous. Compare that to those that come from China and Japan. They're straight, and their fibers are simpler, much easier to construct beautiful things with it. Some of you have probably seen pictures of the new Gopinath Bordoloi airport at Guwahati that has won many design awards. It looks fantastic, but what you see is really computer renderings. What I have seen glimpses of is being built is unfortunately far less attractive. And also I have heard that all the bamboo material comes from China. That's a shame. It should be coming from the Northeast. We have so much of it. I have a niece-in-law who is doing bamboo from, it's called meristem cloning, making mass production of bamboo from single piece. And I have written to her that you should start growing this better quality bamboo that comes from China and Japan. She says she is aware of it and she's heard of it and she's taken note of it. Those are kind of things that we need to promote and inform the public that these are possibilities that we should exploit. Next thing I would like to talk about is transportation. I think Raj touched upon this subject. The development of the Northeast is greatly dependent upon connectivity to the rest of the country and rest of the world. I have a classmate from Arunachal who was the spiritual head of the Khamti people. And I visited him about 10, 15 years ago. He told me, Chandan, that the Chinese invasion was the best thing that ever happened to us. I was taken aback, but he explained, it's because of that now we have got roads, we have got bridges, we have schools. We didn't have any of those before, which tells us something, that we need better connectivity. And one of those things, dream big for me, is that from Sadia to Delhi, we should have a maglev system built. China is building all over the place. Why can't we do that? We can. We have to have a demand for it, and people should rise up and say that we want it and get it done. And that could be, that could have other benefits as well. The train lines have been a lifeline for the Northeast for a very long time. It is good, but the bad part is that it has also cut off the Brahmaputra Valley with a dam, and it blocks the free flow of water, which has caused untold damage from flooding. And if we can raise the train tracks to a mid-level of a maglev system, then we can cut some of the railroads into more, water can flow more easily. So those are other aspects of it. This, I know it's kind of a dream, but we have to dream big. The third thing that I would like to touch upon is that my eldest brother, who was who was a very big dreamer, and he advocated creating an international air hub near Dibrugarh, Lakhimpur, that area. And it is very centrally located for economies in the East: China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Australia, India, Middle East, Europe, all over. And it is, the benefits are that it is not congested. It's not Kolkata, it's not even Guwahati. And it could be planned properly, and it could become a real boom for the entire Northeast. Those are the things that I wanted to touch about, and just tease people and let them think about it. Hopefully, it will be talked about and demanded so that things can happen. And finally, I want to thank Utpala, Hans, and Joy for taking the trouble of organizing this Northeast get-together. It is an extremely important and beneficial thing to do for the entire region, and not just for that region, but it's for the subcontinent. And thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much for your discussion there. I will now pass the microphone back to Jay.
Thank you, Chandanda, and also shout out for Gina helping me. Without Gina, I can't move forward. So thank you, Gina. So just a quick housekeeping. Abigail, Geeti has sent you approval for you to approve the link so she can put this on YouTube. So if you can respond to your text message. No text message. So let's move on to our next panelist. And she doesn't need any introduction. She's Jarina Ngangom from Manipur. So Jarina, first of all, thank you for the wonderful food you cooked. And she really worked 8 hours yesterday in the kitchen, she and her beautiful friend. So a big round of applause.
Oh no, it's our pleasure. Like, we really enjoy doing that.
So a quick intro for Jarina. Jarina is from Manipur, which we call the jewel of India, India's northeast, often called the Switzerland of the East. Nestled in lush green valleys and surrounded by blue hills, Manipur is a land where nature and tradition exist in perfect harmony. If you Google the meaning of the word Manipur, that's how it is. It is the birthplace of polo, the Manipur polo, and home to the mesmerizing Loktak Lake with floating islands called Pumdis, and alive with the grace of the Ras Leela, dances that tell timeless stories of devotion. Some of you watched the drum yesterday. Growing up in this culturally rich and beautiful land, shaped by values of resilience, creativity, and grace. She completed her schooling in Manipur before moving to Triveni Academy, Tamil Nadu, for her 11th and 12th grades. Drawn to technology, she pursued electrical and electronics engineering at the Government School of Technology, Coimbatore. After working in Hyderabad for a few years, she moved to California in 2003 to pursue her master's in computer science at Northwest Polytechnic. She worked as a software engineer at Disney, but retired from the tech world to focus on family and become motherhood, which to her was a top priority. Her deep love for children led her to her current profession as a preschool teacher in Scotts Valley, California. A big shout out for all the school teachers.
Thank you.
Where she finds immense joy in nurturing and inspiring young minds. Outside of work, she is passionate about fitness, health, and cooking, and dream of opening her own restaurant, and I'll be one of her first customers.
I would say thank you for giving us the opportunity to work in a big kitchen. So that was a big experience for us. Thank you. Yes. Yes, yeah.
So question for her, As you all know, Manipur has a glorious tradition in martial arts, including the art of Tang Ta, a combination of sword, which is called Tang, and spear, which is called Tha. Being someone who's passionate about fitness and health, how do you feel a traditional art like Tang Ta has a role to play in modern fitness practice and mental discipline?
First of all, I want to thank Utpala and Hans for organizing this beautiful gathering. It gives me immense pleasure, like, it feels good that I'm all connected here, and I would request that we continue this. Let's not this be the first. Let's like have many more coming. And before I respond, I want to give a brief introduction about Thangta. I won't go to the technicality of it, but I'll just give a brief introduction about like how Thangta is. So Manipur has a rich tradition of martial arts, and Thangta is a real cultural treasure of Manipur. So the word Thang means sword, and Ta means spear, right? So when you look at it, like you might see Thangta as a combat system, but the more you learn about it, you will realize that it's not just beyond that. Like it's a practice of harmony between your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? So historically, Thangta was indispensable. In the old kingdom of Manipur, where like frequent war with a neighboring region meant that every warrior had to master this skill. But over time, however, this kind of like extended beyond the battlefield. It became like a codified martial arts. It's like with like rooted in discipline and devotion, and also a framework of rules which extended beyond the training halls. For Thangta, discipline is it's the heart of, I would say, it's the heart of Thangta. It's very like, every detail they have in Thangta is so disciplined that every practitioner they carry it into their everyday lives, like into their diet, and diet is main, like diet, and then in their conduct, and even in their social interaction. So these principles shaped both your physical strength as well as your moral characters. So even the diet has been regulated because they believe that diet affects your body as well as your mind. So I would say that Thangta is more than a martial art. It's a way of living. It's a lifestyle, and every movement and every training sessions and every rule of conduct flows into your daily lives. That's how like Thangta is. And I want to share this. Like recently I visited my hometown, Imphal, and I have a cousin brother, and he's younger than me, and like I see a change in him, and I say, hey, what are you doing? His name is Kennel Ward, and I was like, hey, what you doing? And he told me that he started practicing Thangta, and I could see the change in him. Like he was more disciplined about himself, and I could see even the physical change in him. He was a totally changed person. So that's what I want to say, that this is not just merely physical, it's not just physical training, but it's also the mental, So that's very important. And another thing that I want to stress on is the ethics and the respect that are part of Thangta. So every practitioner, they uphold respect for the elders as well. Their teacher. The teacher is the man. It's like every day when you walk in, they have to they have to bow down, and then they have to really respect that. And also with their fellow disciple, which this foster an environment of trust, and then also social cohesion, which is very important now as they were in the past. So now coming to your question about how it relates to my passion for health and fitness, I feel like Thangta is a bridge between the tradition and the modern, modern principles. And it's like how the Thangta, the flowy movement and the mental focus, as well as the full body engagement, I would kind of compare to functional training that I usually do in the gym. But I would say it goes far beyond that. It's tell us to live a life that is mindful and disciplined, as well as inner balance. As for the future of the fitness world, I think perhaps the answer is not in the latest technology or or I would say or the latest trend of workout. Every day we are coming out with new kind of workout, or now we say yoga has become Pilates, or all this stuff, right? So I would say it's not in that workout, but trying to remembering and revisiting the ancient wisdom of art, like Thangta, and also because it teaches us to be strong is to be, centered, and to be agile. Agile is to be aware, as well as, it tells us that to be truly fit is to live a life that is full of, that is to be living a life that's fully in body and mind and spirit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, I'll give you over to Hans if you want to ask a follow-up.
And just to note, I've only scratched the surface. I've probably been to Northeast India probably a dozen times now, but barely scratched the surface. So this was absolutely new to me, and I'm definitely going to look into this. It looks like an amazing system. So we're going to now go to Meghalaya. We have Josephine Syiem, Syiem, Saiwan, sorry. You haven't written how to pronounce it. Josephine Sawian is an educator, former IAS officer, mother, and grandmother. Josephine graduated from Guwahati University, St. Mary's College, Shillong, attaining first place in BA English Honors. After finishing her MA in English from Delhi University, Josephine returned to Shillong and taught English for several years at St. Mary's College. She completed her B.Ed from Northeastern Hill University with distinction and a gold medal. Josephine changed careers to become the first Khasi woman to join the IAS General Cadre. She worked in Assam and Jayant Hills and East Khasi regions, Meghalaya. And Meghalaya means land of clouds, by the way. Marriage and motherhood led Josephine to leave the IAS and devote herself to her children. She completed an MBA from California Polytechnic University and returned to teaching in private schools and colleges. Josephine has over 30 years of teaching experience and continues to teach college part-time. She enjoys teaching, reading, gardening, traveling, and spending time with her family. So here's a question for you. Josephine, you're uniquely situated, having spent several years as an IAS officer, and maybe you can explain that for people that don't know what that is when you get started, but as an IAS officer serving communities in Jayant and East Khasi Hills and Assam. We would like to hear about what stands out to you in the Khasi and Jayanta communities of Meghalaya in terms of their approach to the increase of tourism in the last 2 decades, its effect on their culture and the environment, and pursuing sustainable development practices in this regard.
Thank you, Hans. Well, I would first of all like to thank the organizers of this wonderful first time ever Northeast Festival. And like you said, we hope it continues. I'm honored to represent the beautiful state of Meghalaya, where I was born, grew up, and also spent some years working there as a teacher and then as in the administrative service, Indian Administrative Service. So I was a town girl, grew up in Shillong, and did not have much contact with the local people who lived in the villages, in the rural areas. In my years of serving in the IAS, I was privileged to get into close contact with the people of Meghalaya, both in the Jayant Hills and in the Khasi Hills, where I was able to see how people lived day to day, to talk to them and to hear their views. Not that they actually talked a lot, but you kind of had to observe it, and this is my impression. So today I want to talk to you about the impressions of how the local people of Meghalaya interacted with the environment, with nature, and with people around them. So the local people, the Khasis and the Jaintias, were very proud, and are still very proud of the land. The land of Meghalaya is a land that is endowed with beauty and natural resources. They call it May Ram O, which is Mother Earth. And they always talk about how this beautiful land is blessed by the Creator. So there's both respect and reverence in their attitude towards the land they live in, the blessings that it provides them. First of all, as a source of sustenance, soil for growing things, fruit and from the trees, medicine from the plants. Meghalaya is rich in medicinal plants, and much research has been done on that today. So there is this intrinsic bond between the people and the land. That was respect. They also have a reverence for it, because as I said, it is a land blessed by the Creator. In Meghalaya, there are what we call the sacred groves. These are supposed to have been for the gods, and people are invited to go there, but we cannot take even a blade of grass, because if you do, something bad is going to happen to you. So that is the respect and the reverence. Another respect, that story that I heard from somebody in Umden in Ribhoi, which is, by the way, the headquarters and the source of Eri silk, the non-violent silk, where the silkworms are not killed. And she talked about how this was a tradition that they had pursued for many, many years. And the story is, and you know, Meghalaya is full of stories and myths. The story is that this old man was drinking his cup of tea, probably red tea, no milk, and this cocoon fell into his cup. So he fished it out, and there was a filament of silk. And that was how, supposedly, Eri silk started. I'm not sure if it's true, but it's a wonderful story, and I would like to believe it. Meghalaya is also called the Scotland of the East, named that by the British who came there and saw the rolling hills and the deep gorges, and of course, the clouds that always sit above the mountains in a mist. It's called the Scotland of the East. The Khasi people and the Jaintia people are naturally hospitable. They are kind people. They welcome you into their homes. When you befriend them, they will invite you to their house and offer you a cup of tea, which they would love you to accept. If you don't, it's kind of not insulting, but I guess a little hurt if you don't accept it. So, and the way they honor you is they put loads of sugar in the tea. So the more respect they have for you, the more sugar they put in your tea. So hospitality is spontaneous. When I was posted in the Jayant Hills, I visited Dauki as an officer there, and the local people were very pleased to show me one of the treasures that they valued. It's called the Caves of Sindai. Sindai is a village, and there was this cave which was fairly unknown to me and still not very popular today, but it is getting there. And so we went in. It was like a little foxhole. We kind of had to slither in. I was much, much younger then, so I was able to do all those acrobatics. And we went in, and you had to crawl through this space. And then we came out into this huge cavern where a car could drive. And there's stalactites and stalagmites, and everyone could stand up. And so this was something that the local people would like to do. They didn't do it for everybody. I guess if you showed an interest in their area, in their land, they would offer to show you some of the special places that they liked. Now, the attitude at that time, this is very interesting, and I was thinking, wow, this is a great place for people to visit. That was not in their minds at all. There was no sense of we can show this to people from outside, and it can be a source of income for us. There's nothing in their minds about that. So how did tourism come about? Well, it actually started with Sora. Sora, formerly known as Cherrapunji, which is what the British called it, land of oranges. That's what it's supposed to mean, because they couldn't pronounce the word Chera. So Sora was the place where tourism started. And Sora was actually, as you know, the capital of Assam in the British days. And they chose it because of its clean air and its beauty. Very, very beautiful place. However, they did not realize that Sora is the wettest spot in the world. So the incessant rain finally drove them to shift the capital of Assam to Shillong. But that was how Sora came to be known, became famous for the rains. People went to experience the rains, and when they went there, they saw these beautiful falls. There are the North Ngitiang Falls, which is a cascade of 7 falls, or North Kalikai, and these are very high falls. So people started visiting Sora for its beauty, for the falls, essentially, and of course, discover the rain, and try to get home in the evening through this mist that would fall down on the winding roads where you're hugging this hillside and hoping you don't fall into the ravine on the other side. I remember one trip where my brother was driving, and it was so misty and so foggy, he had to roll the window down. It was raining. He had to hang his head out the side so he could see the yellow line and follow it back to Shillong. So Shillong then became the hub for people to visit Sora. Shillong itself had its own attractions. Of course, there's always Ward's Lake and the natural golf links. And then Sora was the day trip. You could just go there. And then in 2003, 2 things happened that were kind of the pivot for tourism. The first one was in the Sora area, a local lady and her husband built this 6-room resort, the first of its kind, I believe, in the rural areas, and it had all the modern amenities. I actually visited it that year. I happened to be in Shillong. I happened to be visiting Shillong with my daughter, my teenage daughter, and we went to this place in Latkinso, and it had 6 rooms, and they're all modern, with attached bathrooms. And 2 hours away, when you trekked through the jungle, was a double-decker living root bridge. Now, a lot of people now know about the living root bridges of Meghalaya. Of course, I didn't trek it because that was too far from me, and we hadn't planned on it at the same time. So tourists started going to Latkinso to visit the double-decker living bridge. The second thing that happened was that Maulanong, a village towards the Dauki side, became known as Asia's cleanest village. So then again, Maulanong was sprung into the spotlight and people started visiting. Again, at this time, it was still mostly local people. So Maulanong took up the challenge to become a tourist spot, and people were very creative. They had homestays. A homestay is kind of like an Airbnb, but people don't move out of their homes. They actually invite you into their homes, and you get a room in the house and live there with them. Of course, you pay for it also, but minimal. And then they provide you with food and all the things that happened. They also set up local tour guides to take you to the surrounding areas. And then there's the infrastructure of stores or shops, as we call them, for food and for beverages and cafes. Maulanong is a model, and we'll come back to that also. So with the social media, there was a big catapulting of the fame of Maulanong and subsequently the rest of Meghalaya. Now, in Shnangpdeng, which is near Dauki, there was a start of adventure tourism. So for the young and adventurous traveler, you don't always have to be young. You can be, whatever age you like to be. There's kayaking, trekking, cliff jumping, and also camping. So the same thing, infrastructure was set up, And also, additionally, they also had entertainment. So I saw this YouTube video, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, of this family who would open their homes in the evening and they would play traditional musical instruments and they would sing traditional songs. And so that was how they provided entertainment. At this point, of course, we can see benefits of tourism. First of all, I think alleviation of poverty. Tourism provided jobs, not just for people who are educated, for the unskilled and the semi-skilled. Anyone who knew the land could be a tour guide. They could set up a shop, pretty low investment, right? So tourism kind of catapulted and became very, very much a part of the economy of Meghalaya. Now, coming to the environment, there is a challenge here between over-tourism and ecotourism. What are the challenges that we face? The increase in footfall in the hills of Meghalaya has actually brought about some damage and some despoiling of the landscape and the tourist spots. And that's kind of ironic. The very place that you go to see is being overrun by everybody, people, well-meaning people who come to visit, but also there is damage to the environment. There is also a danger of the loss of the agrarian culture. People in the villages, in the rural areas, are by nature planters and growers. But the gain, the immediate, quick financial gain from being a tourist spot, from being having a shop for tourists, can also lead to the loss of that agrarian culture and the cultural individuality. So how do we balance this? I want to bring you to Mawlynnong. Mawlynnong is a model for community, what we call community tourism. From the very start, the people of Mawlynnong took it upon themselves to lead this tourism. There's a leadership with the village council and the elders, and the details are quite important, I thought. The decisions are made democratically. There is collective responsibility from the youngest to the oldest. And this is all woven into daily life. People are empowered to keep this the cleanest village. They take pride in it. They clean the streets every morning. I believe now it's twice a day. The children pick up trash on the way to school and back from school. The homestay benefits the local economy, not some hotel who comes in and has a hotel there, but homestay benefits the local people. The sustainable building, they actually have permits in Mawlynnong that they can have no more than 2 stories because they want to preserve the aesthetics. Sometimes I think in our desire to develop, we forget what is good. We discard what is good and old for the new that is sometimes not as aesthetically beautiful. A few more details about Mawlynnong. Environmental conservation is community-wide. They have bamboo, trash containers. Plastic is banned and smoking is also banned. Waste is composted. Rainwater is harvested in natural stone basins. And the best part is, I think, that the agrarian culture is not abandoned because tourism is not always a full-time occupation. It can be a parallel occupation. So going forward, what do we do? Well, education is important. Training the young to tell them to preserve, teaching them how to preserve and conserve the environment. Reaffirm the sense of collective responsibility and ownership. Some other nitty-gritty details, maybe a billboard talking about the history and the myths and legends, a reminder to be respectful of nature, maybe opportunities for feedback, QR codes, right? And so this is the way forward, to preserve our natural environment so that we can live, people can live peacefully in the place they love, and also share it with others who will be respectful. We are all part of this amazing planet Earth. This is our home. Our responsibility is to preserve it. And so I conclude with these words: wherever you go, wherever we go, tread lightly, learn deeply, and leave only gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you so much. And just on this note, because I've been to Meghalaya actually in the sort of mid-2000s, and so the Route Bridge, I went there, it was like stepping into the Lord of the Rings. You know, I was like, it was amazing. And then I went back, I think about 8 years later, and they put concrete steps, and everything was covered in concrete. It didn't really have the same feeling to me. That it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but I think it's very important to look at the choices for development, right? Some things don't need to be developed. That was just a personal thing. But anyways, let's move on to Jay again. Go ahead.
Thank you, Josephine, and I reiterate and second those thoughts. I have a special connection to Shillong. That's where my ancestral property has been built, and we in Nangtimai, and we still keep that ancestral property. So thank you again. So next we move to, from Mizoram, Dr. Varte. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here with us, but she has sent a video. So her bio is, Dr. Van is a native of Mizoram, India, is a neuroscientist, currently serving as assistant scientist in the Department of Biology at the University of Florida, Gainesville. Her research is characterized by its interdisciplinary nature, focusing on neurodegenerative disease, particularly Alzheimer's disease AD, using Drosophila models. This approach has allowed her to bridge basic research with clinical applications, advancing translational neuroscience. So the question for her, and she has sent the video will play, is, as you know, Mizoram Tourism Department recently won the Eco Nature Retreat Award at ITCTA project, the same place as Arunachal Pradesh won their awards. This project's Mizoram's growing reputation as a sustainable, eco-friendly, and nature-based travel destination. So what steps are Mizoram taking to continue to push for expanding tourism, keeping in mind the need to protect the ecological balance of its delicate flora and fauna?
Our state government has taken various steps. One of the most crucial steps is development of ecotourism initiatives, where they build more eco-lodge and nature trails in the hill stations such as Rayekla, Muifang, Sakor Muituan, and Pongpui, even in lakes, rivers, and waterfalls. They upgrade infrastructure so that travelers can connect with nature with minimal disturbance. Under central government schemes, more tourism infrastructure is developed to showcase the heritage at places like Kotswa Ropui, also known as the Great Gateway, and Lumpun Ropui. Artificial lake is also developed to attract more tourists. Another step is protection of wildlife sanctuaries and forest cover. Mizoram has one of the highest forest cover percentage in India, approximately 85%, along with multiple national parks and wildlife sanctuaries such as Dampa Tiger Reserve, Moorland, and Pongpui. These forests and sanctuaries draw tourists for hiking, bird watching, and biodiversity trails. Protecting tiger reserve, biodiversity hotspots, and high forest cover shows long-term commitment to ecological balance. The other step our government has taken is celebrating traditional festivals such as Saptarkut and Chalfabangkut, where Mizo heritage is shown through dance, music, and food. Recently, we also start celebrating another festival, Nasinkut. The other step is improve connectivity. Recently, rail connectivity to Aizawl began. In addition, Tourism Department also partnered with IRCTC to provide travel package for tourists. There is an improvement in the highway too. Next is rural and community-based tourism or homestay, where travelers can stay with local families and participate in farming activities while enjoying natural beauty. Government has initiated building bamboo huts in certain villages like Ailong. It is an alternative accommodations among village community, and also it is a cost-effective approach. Last but not the least is eco-adventure tourism, where they promote hiking, rock climbing, cave exploration, camping, and paragliding. Last year, Asia Urban Downhill Mountain Biking Race was held in Aizawl that attract international biking communities and positioned Mizoram as an adventure tourism hub. Thank you for your time and attention.
All right, let's give a round of applause for Dr. Vanla.
Thank you so much. Okay.
So at this point, I'll transfer it over to my good friend Hans for the next panelist.
Hello. Okay. So, and I just want to again thank all these panelists. We're very lucky to get such a diverse group of people, and so we have a very accomplished poet as our next person. So, just again, we threw this together. We were just very blessed to have everybody's so qualified here. You know, and so I feel like just a PhD is nothing compared to all these people. But, anyways, so we have Rozumari Samsara. Graduated from Delhi University, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and later from Ruhr-Universität Bochum, Germany. She worked with several international organizations before studying physical theater at the Commedia School, Copenhagen. She was the first runner-up at the Copenhagen English Poetry Slam 2016. Her poems have been featured in Tokyo Poetry Journal, Outlook India's Poetry as Evidence, Zuban Books, and Ohio Bard's Poetry Anthology. She is a performing artist and the debut author of a poetry book, Memographia. She lives in Kent, Ohio. All right, so a question for you is, Nagaland has started an initiative to reduce or eliminate single use of plastic and preventing what is called plastic pollution. It has encouraged promoting bioplastics from cassava, organizing World Environment Day campaigns to raise awareness, and encouraging alternatives such as cloth and paper bags, bamboo bottles, and reusable items. What are some of the educational opportunities the state can do to bring awareness at the grassroots level to adopt some of these above-mentioned protocols?
First of all, thank you for the question. And I'm also very happy to be here and to meet a lot of friendly people. Often I feel lonely where I am, so it's nice to be in a community where I don't have to explain myself, where I was born and what an alien that I am. I think first of all, I would say that it was a brave initiative on the part of the state government of Nagaland to come up with this single-use plastic ban. And especially in our times where climate change is impacting all of us everywhere. And I would also like to specially emphasize that regions like the whole Himalayan range from Pakistan till Eastern Himalayas, where most of our Northeast Indian states are located, are hugely impacted by climate change. We all know that. So I'm very encouraged that the state has come up with this. And regarding the question, what can the government do to encourage the at the grassroots level to implement this successfully, this single-use plastic ban? I'm not an expert on this, but I have been thinking about it, researching, and also talking to friends and relatives in Nagaland. And some of the things that I thought the government could do from my perspective as a layperson, as a lay Naga, is that now the plastic ban has been implemented for a year, 1st of August 2014. So what the state government can do is to identify communities and also villages where this ban has been successful. So I think this kind of initiative becomes very important because they can use this as model communities, like villages and communities, and teach the other communities where this ban has not been successful. So I think exchanging between the communities within the state, where there was success, where there was no success, I think it's very important. Another thing, as someone who's been trained in international aid development, humanitarian aid and all that, NGO work, INGO work, working for the UN before. So I think from my experience, I will say that behavioral change is a long-term process. So it takes a long time, intergenerational and all that. So to catch the people when they are young. So to focus on maybe the church youths or the schools and the vocational training centers, the universities, and also come up with not boring activities, but something that inspires young people, like poetry writing, essay writing, or say music events, or art competitions. And also young people are always with their mobile phones, so maybe to encourage them to make small clips regarding how this ban has been implemented at their community level and share it with their friends, or also in social media. So I think engaging them when they are young becomes very important. At another level, I think we should also look for people who have long experience in single-use plastic ban, like the state of Sikkim. Sikkim implemented single-use plastic ban in 1998, so they are so much more ahead than state like Nagaland. So maybe the policymakers and the implementers, they can get grassroots level community workers to Sikkim and have exchanges so that they can, Sikkimese people can tell them what worked for them, what did not work for them. And not only for grassroots level workers, but I think even at the higher level in Nagaland state, instead of working in isolation, maybe it's a good idea to have this exchange with Sikkim. And if things are working in Sikkim and Nagaland, I think it's also very important. We know in India, everywhere we go, plastic is a huge issue. So maybe some of these states can take the leadership to educate people in India. Some of the things that I would like to highlight from Nagaland regarding ecological projects in the last few years is also in 2005, Konuma village in Kohima district in Nagaland was declared by the inhabitants as the first green village in India, ecological village, because of their sustainable agriculture, because also they came up with some waste management system that kind of works there, and limited use of plastic. So I think these are important steps that has taken place in the community, which also inspires the other villages in Nagaland. Another important thing that took place was in 2019. I don't know whether you all have visited Nagaland. Zuku Valley is the hub of tourism in Nagaland, especially if people want to go hiking and also they want to go camping. So in 2019, the Southern Angami Youth Organization made Zuku Valley a plastic-free zone. So I think these are really, for me, historical kind of initiative that the youth organization, they came up. And also, last year, June, 2024 June, the Woka district, that's where I origin from, administration and the villages along the Doyang River. Doyang River is one of the main rivers in Nagaland, and we are also connected in the northeast through the Doyang River, because Doyang River flows into Dansari River and it flows into Brahmaputra. So it's a tributary of the Brahmaputra. So in the Woka district, there is a hydro project, and there were debris and plastics being accumulated at the water reservoir. So they started the first clean Doyang project. So last year they got together, the local authorities and the villagers along the Doyang River in Wokha district, and they cleaned up. And this year they repeated in August. And why is this important? It's because now the villagers are thinking upriver garbage that's coming down and what we are also sending down. So I think this has impact not only at the local level, these are initiatives, but it will impact the region. And also the other parts of Nagaland, people maybe will get inspired to start cleaning the rivers, because the rivers are really dying in many parts of India and also around the world. So I think these are very inspiring small measures taken, but maybe with impact in the future. So another thing that made me happy was also in Nagaland we have the Hornbill. That's one of the main tribal festival. So during the Hornbill in 2024, the people who were planning, the state government and the vendors, declared it a plastic-free festival. So 200,000 people gathered, and they used indigenous Naga cutleries like leaves and bamboos and wood. And I thought, going back to our ancestral practices where it was good for the environment, and to once again, after 70, 80 years of being bombarded by plastic and brainwashed to use it, to start discarding it and to start using our own traditional practices, which was good for Mother Earth, and to go back there really makes me happy. These are such small baby steps, but I think these are good steps that the people and the state in Nagaland are initiating. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just like to invite everybody to look at all of our displays there. Not because I helped put these up, I won't take any credit for it. But so we have history, archaeology, we have each state. So just to get a sense, especially if you're not familiar with this region, just to see what a rich, amazing treasure it is on the planet Earth. You know, it's a very important region. So anyways, I'm gonna pass it over to Jay.
Thank you so much. So next we're very pleased to have Mamta Somani with us. She comes from the beautiful state of Sikkim. I know they call it 7 sisters and 1 brother, so we'll talk about that later. So Mamta Somani was born and raised in the former kingdom of Sikkim in the eastern Himalayas. As you know, Himalayas goes from all the way from north to east, bordering with Bhutan, China, and Nepal, making it culturally diverse. She attended school in Gangtok, the capital of Sikkim, and still remembers the beautiful Kanchenjunga, which is an incredible mountain in the Himalayas, peeping through the clouds every morning. And she says when she opens her windows, she feels the gleaming sun rays coming in. Life used to be simple back then, she says. She used to walk 3 miles to go to school and used to be happy and appreciate every small gifts that her parents gave. Together with her 3 siblings, during the cold weather, they used to tug each other tight in the night and sleep. From the world's largest lakes, breathtaking views of snow-capped Himalayas, steep valleys glooming with flowers, Sikkim has everything that one longs to have in nature, along with monasteries and beautiful shrines for all worshippers. She moved to US in 2001 and currently resides in Fishers, Indiana, with her husband, son, and pet. And she currently works as a program delivery lead operation Humana, along with studying in Purdue University, and she resides at Fishers, Indiana. She loves doing meditation, volunteering for social cause, reading and listening on wisdom, cooking, yoga, Ayurveda, interior designing, hiking, and being with nature. She's really busy. So question for you, Mamta. Sikkim, as we all know, joined India's 22nd state in 1975 and has an incredible record of political economic stability and records the highest per capita income among all Northeast states. With its diverse populations of Lepchas, Bhutias, and Nepalis, It has managed to maintain communal harmony and use that strength of a community to become the first organic state of India. What additional steps can it do to balance economic development with ecological conservation?
Thank you for this opportunity today. I am really very happy to represent my state, Sikkim, today. And it's a grand event, grand initiative what we have started, and we should continue that moving in future. I was actually very reluctant whether to come or not, and it was Utpola, she said like, you have to come. For Sikkim, there's no one to represent. So I had no choice, and plus, you know, right, when anyone speaks about your state and to represent, that feeling comes, you know, that how can you leave it? Because that is the place which gave you so much in life. So that was the reason, and I would like to thank my friend Simon, who told me about this initiative initially, and then Utpola finally made it happen for me. And I would like to thank my friend Ashima Garg also. She came all the way from Indiana along with me to motivate me and just accompany me, you know, in this journey. So as you mentioned, like Sikkim is like, there's no words what to say about Sikkim, you know. It's a very, very beautiful state in India. And in fact, you feel like you're not in India when you are in Sikkim. It's called Land of Orchids. So all varieties of orchids, ferns, and all the habitat that grows there. And it's very beautiful. And along with that, we have tea gardens, and we have like beautiful nature, and like you talk about hiking, trekking, water, rivers, like Brahmaputra River part comes to Sikkim also. It's the Teesta River, where like a lot of people go for hiking, and like a lot of boating, and you know, river tubing and all. So it's very famous. Along with that, Sikkim is the cleanest state of India and the organic state of India. So everything there, what it grows is without chemicals, without harmful pesticides. So it is like whatever nature has given us, we grow with that and cultivate that and feed the people with that. So they are very healthy and good in the long run, because that really matters, right, for a healthy place. And regarding the Swachh Bharat, my recent visit to Sikkim, it was like last year, after many years. So I was so surprised. Every evening, a car comes and tells like, you know, there is a music regarding Swachh Bharat, and then they collect all the garbage and take it away. And when you go to the streets, where I am from, like Gangtok, the main capital of Sikkim, so you don't see any trash or any paper there. It's very, very clean. And you have all the Bose speakers there in the main area, where we have continuously the, local music going on, and like a lot of tourists visiting that area. And now we have Chief Minister Pawan Kumar Tamling, who is like already there. So we call him Gole Saab. So he is like taking Sikkim to a next level. He is a very modern, forward-thinking leader, where he has helped in establishing a lot of hydro projects, then looking at the urban development of the state, as well as a lot of tourism activities. Recently, a park was made in Sikkim, in the middle of the town in Gangtok, where they made like facilities, gym facilities, like and different type of like, you know, like playing things for the kids, as well as running ground, track ground, and skating grounds, which I have never seen before. It was at that level, like what we have in United States today, like the parks, and it was built in just 3 months, and especially for the public, where the old people can come and the youngsters also come together at a place, you know, and have a conversation and have their views there. So it was very interesting to see that. And we have an orchid festival in Sikkim. For that, like lot of people all across the globe, they come to visit that, and that is a very big function, what happens there. So recently they have created a new area where they can go and see the orchid festival, and along with that, like a QR code where they can scan and go inside. So it's all like very modern. And again, looking at the preservation, right, regarding the local thing, so there's a very fine line there, we have made sure our trees, our nature, everything is preserved there, as well as the cottage industries and the rich handloom, everything is preserved. Along with that, we see a lot of modern facilities there, hospitals, a lot of malls there now, and some hotels there, but they have always made sure that they are not playing with nature, just a thin line there. And when you see, like, I mean, overall development of Sikkim versus other states, you can see a drastic difference. Sikkim is far ahead in that, and that's because of the futuristic leader we have today. He is taking Sikkim to the next level. He's such a benevolent person where he goes to people who are sick and who cannot be treated in Sikkim. He sends them outside of Sikkim. And besides that, he makes sure like the latest facilities come to Sikkim. And I would say, like, if I retire, I would definitely have a house back in Sikkim again and go and stay there, because that is a place which I feel there's nowhere in the world. Thank you so much.
Jay doesn't need to, I'm doing this one. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Hans.
Okay, so yeah, and I'll do the last state. Our last state is Tripura. I just want to share, I had an amazing experience in Sikkim. It is exactly what she says. I mean, there's no trash. If you want to quit smoking, go there. It's illegal to smoke. You can't smoke anywhere, inside, outside, and you will get a serious fine. It's an amazing place, and just to share kind of an anecdote. So I went there, and I had, for my budget, a tour guide and the Jeep and van. And I said, you know what? It's only 70 kilometers. I can walk. So I got off, and I just started walking. I had some idea I'm going that way. I ended up completely lost in the mountain region, in the forest. It was late at night. There was some kind of ruin of a temple. And I said, God, I said, what am I going to do? Okay, well, I guess I messed up. This dog came. And then suddenly I had a group, it ended up being a pack of dogs that walked with me for 2 days and led me to this lake of Padmasambhava. It's called the Teardrop of Padmasambhava. But these dogs, they led me through all the villages. Every village we'd go through, other dogs would join, some would leave. It was just my gang, and I have pictures of it. And they guided me for 2 days. And then even when I got to this amazing lake, they just all left. They didn't even want a biscuit. So that was just a wonderful experience there. But please go to Sikkim if you have a chance. So.
One tap.
Yeah, no beggars, and I mean it's so clean. I mean, and that square she talked about, the public square, just really amazing place. No vehicular traffic right there in the heart of Gangtok. All right, so we'll do our last panel participant from Tripura, Saikat Chakraborty. So Saikat Chakraborty is from Agartala, Tripura. After completing his higher secondary education, he moved to Bangalore, where he earned his undergraduate and master's degrees in agriculture and microbiology. He then pursued his PhD in molecular biology in Japan before moving to the United States in 2008. Over the years, he worked as a postdoctoral research at institutions including Indiana University, Harvard Medical School, Stony Brook Medicine, and the Feinberg School of Medicine in Chicago. Currently, he serves as a principal research scientist at Elenco in Indiana. Saikat, you've been exposed to modern research in agriculture and animal husbandry, both in academic and the corporate worlds. How will things you learned and experiences you've had help a state like Tripura follow best practices in sustainable farming, especially with its recent focus and initiatives like the bio-villages?
Thank you. Thanks to the organizers here, Jayant, Utpala, for this opportunity. Actually, I was not aware of your program before. So through my cousin Sharmi, so she reached out to me that, hey, we need Tripura representative, and you were born and brought up in Tripura. So, but it was a great opportunity for me also to represent Tripura in this platform, and I'm very much privileged to be here today. Just to begin with, I would like to give some background, like how I was connected to agriculture. So my father was a police superintendent, SP, he retired SP, and his father was an Ayurvedic doctor. So like 2-3 generations before me, nobody was connected to agriculture at all. And as a young kid, I was also dreaming I wanted to be a doctor. I was inspired by some of the family doctors, I wanted to be in the medical profession. I narrowly missed the medical seat in a joint entrance exam after my high school. And there was no second opportunity for me. I could not afford to wait for one more year, but I managed to get agriculture seat in Bangalore. And that's how I landed to Bangalore, University of Agriculture and Science, GKVK Bangalore, where first semester was horrible for me because I was not connected to agriculture. I never knew what is the plows and bullock carts and everything like that. So it was completely a different experience. But as I started, the 4 years course taught me a lot about the genetics, plant breeding, plant pathology, sociology, psychology, biotechnology, microbiology. There are a lot of things, economics. I feel that agriculture gave me a huge base. Multiple sides I was exposed to as an undergrad student. And every time I used to go to my state of Tripura, one thing I used to, while I was in Bangalore, that lot of people in South India, they do not know where is Tripura. I mean, I said I am from Tripura, and they said, Tripur. There are some places in Kerala, Tripur. I said, hey, you guys don't know geography of India? I mean, I used to feel really, mad that they do not know where is Tripura. But one thing that they know Assam. So, but Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura, probably, I do not know what is the gap in their studying the geography in those areas. But I used to educate them, like, I do not know how many times I had to speak about Tripura. But one thing I just related to your question, where every time I go back to my state and while I was getting more exposed to agriculture, and I used to talk to the local farmers, there are some people who does like shifting cultivation, in our language they call Jum Chash. So Jum Chash is like they shift like every couple of years, they keep shifting in the mountain hills, and then they move to the next area, they burn the bushes, and then they sow the seeds and they grow some paddy. But by and large, Tripura is actually rice is predominantly grown, and we have very high quality pineapple, jackfruit. But I was connected to more with the farmers who are growing rice. And every time I talk to them, I see that these people are really completely unaware of what is inbreeding depression. And I talked to them, I talked to a couple of them, the farmers, they're very, very progressive farmer. Some of them said, no, every year we harvest a portion of that we keep, and next year we sow that same seed. I reached out to the Department of Agriculture, some of the people who are connected to the extension. It is their job to, educate the farmers, because farmers do not know genetics and plant breeding and what is the inbreeding depression and how every year the productivity goes down. That's how I started, but people sometimes do not change their practice very easily. I tried my best through Tripura Agriculture Department to spread this message that they should not be using the same seeds every year. Later on, before going to Japan for my PhD, I was working for Indian Institute of Horticulture Research as a senior research fellow. There I was working on organic farming, where there is a disease called banana wilt. So you must have seen, even if you have seen the banana trees, sometimes you'll see the banana trees will be like drying in the middle of the trees. It's drying. So this is a fungal disease called banana wilt disease. I was working on that, and I was trying to control the disease through fungus called VA mycorrhiza and a bacteria called Pseudomonas fluorescens. And so we are working on like how these two fungus and bacteria combined way inhibit the disease-causing fungus. And I reached out to that, and I remember I took some samples, this VA mycorrhiza spores. Luckily it was not international travel, so I could travel from Bangalore to Tripura, and I gave these spores to the local agriculture department and try to educate those agriculture people that like, hey, you must spread these things to the banana cultivators because banana is also grown in Tripura. So, and then of course I moved to Japan and I got into more medical biotechnology and later on neuroscience and different other fields. But yes, I think Tripura, I'm not saying that Tripura is doing really great at this point, but there are a lot can be achieved in terms of agriculture. And I believe that I'm very much lucky to hear other panelists from your states, and there are like political intents from the leaders. This is really, really, I'm happy to understand, know about Sikkim and Nagaland. And so I believe there are a lot of things still can be achieved for Tripura, but I'm afraid that intent is still there. But I do not want to say anything about politics about Tripura here but I always feel about the farmers in Tripura, the lack of communication with the agriculture department and the extension workers. The extension workers are those people who should be transferring those scientific know-hows to the farmers. And coming from the Karnataka, I was in Karnataka for 10 years and I picked up that language there. And during my final year of agriculture, I was communicating with the farmers in Kannada. So, I mean, I picked up Japanese, I picked up Kannadiga's language, Karnataka's language, Kannada, and I saw how developed the agriculture extension system in that state, where the Department of Agriculture reach out to the poor farmers and spread the knowledge and bring their problems back to the universities and the professors. I tried my best to the level where possible to do that in my state, but probably there are a lot of more things to be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mic number 2.
Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause for all these wonderful panelists. And we're a little bit over schedule, but we'd like to open up. We have a wireless mic here. If anybody from the audience would like to ask anybody in the panel a question, or the whole panel. So, go ahead.
Great presentation, like from all of you. It was really nice to hear a lot of new things. But when we speak about the development of the Northeast, we basically think about imposing a development model from the mainstream India. A lot of the presenter from Meghalaya, you very rightly you said like the preserving the local culture and traditions. But in most of the cases we see, like, because I did a project, I was the resource person for the Northeast region, for the Ministry of Tribal Affairs long back when I was in India working there as a researcher. So they wanted to have a calculations for the land use system in India, and I was the main person for the Northeast India. So they wanted to have the statistical classifications, what the rest of the India follows. Like, but Northeast totally has, each state has different kind of classifications. For example, the common land. For common land, for the other mainstream India, for the statistical calculations, common land is government land. But for the Northeast, it's not a government land, it's for all the communities. So I think this message should go from this forum, because this is the first forum in the North America that when we speak about development, we have to keep it in mind that Hans has very rightly pointed out in the beginning, that how to preserve the culture, the customary laws. of the communities, of different communities, and it's not the same. We are so diverse. I think that's a message we should carry it forward from this forum. And Sikkim, I think probably I have not studied Sikkim much because Sikkim was not included in the Northeastern region at the time, but I extensively studied land laws of the Northeast. I think Sikkim can be an example if I am not very much aware of something I know about the organic farming and all. I think Sikkim can be an example kind of a best practices happening in and around the Northeast. And second thing about Saikat, right? Like I have a question for you about the farmer's suicide. You have spoken about not using the same seeds. I did a project with United Nations on the indigenous decade of the United Nations, that the United Nations wanted to know what do the people of the Northeast feel about the indigenous decade they celebrate every year. That was a 5-year-long project when I was a researcher there. The main cause of the suicides and the depression and whatever you say among the farmers in the Northeast was the hybrid crops. The new crops, they do not have any skills on it. For example, you say that they should not use the same seeds every year. I don't know, I am not a scientist. I don't know any scientific reason behind that. But thing is that if they do not use their own crops, they lose control on their crops. They need to depend on the market, and for which they do not have the money. So how do we deal with that situation? Like preserving their own culture and skills and everything, and making the Northeast, developing the Northeast in a way that we can stand in the world market, in a globalized economy. Thank you.
Second, you want to take the question?
Can you hear me? I think the one what you said is I have seen that kind of situation in part of Maharashtra and Karnataka, where the Monsanto came with the Terminator gene technology in cotton, and because cotton is cross-pollinated, and the way the Monsanto designed their cotton seeds, that like you have to be, you have to go back to the Monsanto to buy their cotton seed, because that due to the cross-pollination, sometimes, if you do not want to change your seeds, because your neighbors change the seeds, your crops are contaminated with the cross-pollination. And that's how, and in Tripura, it was not the situation, but what I observed is that the farmers are not educated about, once you are growing the same seeds over a period of time, you see a decline in the productivity, gradual decline in the productivity. So it is very important that even with the local source, you get at least change the seeds every couple of years, if not every year. But that knowledge was a gap among the local farmers, what I observed. But as my understanding goes, especially in Tripura, I haven't seen any, any kind of Terminator gene technology in agriculture, especially in paddy. But I was more trying to push the hybrid seeds, which are like drought resistant, which are sometimes blast resistant. Like there are some disease called blast in paddy, which actually devastates the whole field. It's a fungal disease. So there are some hybrid seeds which are available, which has been genetically modified, which can resist those blast disease, or if there is any, paddy is grown in the waterlogged condition, but sometimes if there is lack of water or something, it can resist the drought situation. I was more encouraging people to go with that kind of technology where productivity is high, inbreeding depression is not there, but at the same time, it gives you, the farmers, more resistant variety of paddy seeds, which can be easily incorporated. And the shifting from their own seeds to the hybrid seeds is not a huge cost. Change in the production cost, but rather than they can increase the productivity so much and decrease the cost of, fungicides and other, the chemicals, they can substantially increase their profit. So that was something, but I'm not really aware that in Tripura, the farmers are committing suicide, especially for the failure of the crops. But yes, the farmers' conditions are not really good. They struggle. Poultry. I think, coming back to the things like what you must have seen the news that in part of agriculture, suddenly because of the lack of agricultural planning purpose, all the farmers starts growing tomatoes. And then the demand and supply, the supply is more and the demand is less and the farmers have no place to sell. And they are throwing the tomatoes in the road. So I believe a lot can be achieved by the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture is a specific department called Agricultural Extension, where the scientific knowledge goes to them, and they are the people who should transfer the technology to the farmers, and they should help the farmers in planning. Every year we should not be growing same crop, or if everybody is growing the same thing, then the market value is less. So these are the things, farmers do not know that. And somebody has to help, and the help should come from the Department of Agriculture. And I'm very unfortunate to say that I found the lack of intention or the cooperation from the department.
Very, very sorry about this. It looks like we're over schedule. So, okay. We're supposed to the last, we'll do the last question, but hopefully we do have some other separate breakout rooms, so maybe we can have some more discussion, I believe that.
And the panel, you can, on the lunch hour, you can have more opportunity during the evening, just single them out. Yeah, well, we'll follow you. We'll have Mr. Mahanta have a.
Yes.
Successful, the bacteria?
Yes, it was a successful, and I'm very happy to say that while working in that lab, we were doing the field trial, like clinical trial, what I do now. We used to do field trial with a progressive farmer in Mysore district. It is very, very close to a place called Nanjangud in Mysore district in Karnataka. And we figured out one progressive farmer, because everybody cannot do the, support the field trials. So we were doing the lab test. I was doing the lab test in a petri dish where I could show how this mycorrhiza or Pseudomonas fluorescens can inhibit this Fusarium fungus. We have shown through electron microscopy that the inhibition take place, the interaction take place. And we took those spores and did the field trial as well in the Mysore district in Karnataka, and that was successful.
So it's been used in the field?
It is. I left this lab in 2003, but I had some publications, but I checked with them that this is now kind of largely accepted formula as an organic farming.
Awesome, yeah, that's a biotreatment, so.
Yeah, organic farming, yes.
And I have a question for all the panelists, because I know it's heard about the, Sikkim, Meghalaya, they are all organic, nice, and no trash, and tourism is picking up, we have homestays, lodges. But what you guys think? I know it's very tempting to go nowadays over there, it's nice, food is nice, but what is the basic necessity we have it here and back home? Like, how's with the progress of tourism, how our making the restrooms and all, what you guys think about in all the states? That is the most important thing we should first improve before any of the, any of other things, I feel, that's so what you guys think on that one?
As of Sikkim, I can say, it is very well done. If you go there and see the places, right, the public places, it's very well maintained. and very clean. And they have all the modern facilities for any feminine products or anything. Everything is available there. Like what we have in the vending machines here, we have similar things there. So it's very well developed.
Actually, Mr. Chandan Mahanta has one last question, then we'll have a lot of opportunities during lunch and dinner to talk to the panelists.
It's a short one. Saikat touched upon a very interesting theme, agriculture. We all eat. Yeah. One of the things when I was younger that I was, another of my dream questions was that to turn the Northeast region to be the breadbasket of India. Now, Saikat has a very good handle on, he has seen things, most of the places in India. I want to have his opinion about what are the possibilities about turning that into a reality.
Chandanda, you have asked me a question which is very vast. Yeah, there are a lot of things I believe growing up as a Northeastern person, and then so I'm still connected. My wife is from Agartala. We go back to Tripura almost every alternative year. But there are a lot of things still can be explored. But regarding that, like so many years, we were neglected from Delhi. There is, I think, I do not hesitate to say that our connectivity, road connectivity, flight connectivity, the prices of tickets, everything was so different from rest of the India. And the price of the goods were also very high. And I grew up in a situation where if there is a landslide in Assam or between Assam and Tripura, our prices of the commodity goes high, and some of the businessmen makes money during that situation. So now much better, I would say, compared to 30 years ago, what I have seen. But in terms of, every state has their own strength. Natural, like we have natural gas and oil. Assam is already established. Tourism-wise also, we have a lot to explore. Every state has so much to offer. But I do not think that we have explored to the best of our possibility. So it is a very big question. But I can see. If I talk about agriculture, I can talk about my state that, we are huge producer of rubber, pineapple and other things, but paddy is also one of the most important agriculture product. Local vegetables, fruits, we are meeting our own demands, but also we need to bring from other states. So there are a lot of things to explore at this point, but we are still not there.
She had one last question.
I just wanted to address the first question that you had about the common land in Meghalaya. It is a unique situation. When the British left India, they made arrangements that the districts of Jayant Hills, Khas Hills, and Garo Hills have an autonomy of the district council. So that is where the common land comes in. And cases like that are dealt with by the district council, not by the state government. It's kind of parallel government. And one more thing I wanted to address is the question of bringing in new seeds and old seeds. When the fertilizer boom hit Meghalaya, people were not really aware of the dangers of using fertilizer. When I went to Nongkrem with the Syiem, he's the head of the Kairim clan, his wife was telling me how the kids would play with the fertilizer, not knowing how dangerous it was. Fortunately, people have learned since then, and we have actually gone back. There's been awareness of grassroots and what we call heirloom. We call heirloom tomatoes here. They have heirloom crops there. Meghalaya is very famous for the potatoes. They export them all over India. The newest thing that has come on the scene is the turmeric, which is called lakadong. Lakadong is from the village in the Jayant Hills. It's called lakadong turmeric. And it has 7 to 9% of curcumin as compared to ordinary turmeric, which is only have 1 to 2%. So there's hope. We are going back to grassroots. And so I hope that will continue. So thank you for your question.
All right. Oh. Yeah, one more.
You have a question?
Okay, we'll do, okay, this will be our final question, but sure, go ahead.
Wait, one.
I'm a pushover, sorry. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's indeed been a pleasure to attend. I didn't make it last night, but today's session was quite enlightening. My wife, Maxine, has been doing the interpretive dance with Sanjeev. I don't know if you're familiar with Sanjeev. And it's the holistic, naturopathic thing is something that I've been tuned into for a number of years, 40 years, and it's part of your culture as well. And I wanted to know, based upon what you were saying, how do you think your development as a country might be different or better or worse without British intervention or whatever you want to interpret their presence in your country has been? And sometimes it results in the diminishing of your culture and who you really are as a result of their intervention.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Yeah, whoever wants this.
Yes, India was a long time under the British. There was a lot of oppression, a lot of cruelty. But I have to say one thing about the British. They left us the gift of English. Without English, without the language of English, we in India would not have progressed so far in computer technology. I mean, they're all over the world, the IT specialists, and we would not have the education that we have. They left a solid education system, which still exists today. And so, I know we were oppressed, but they did leave us that gift. Yes, so there's a balance there, definitely.
So one more thing about the Britishers is they started the tea gardens. So if you see the tea gardens in India, like in Sikkim, Darjeeling, they are world famous teas. Yeah, so it's because of them that came into existence, and definitely there are ups and downs. There are a lot of things which India lost also wealth-wise when Britishers came and took away a lot of things to England or other places. But besides that, yes, I mean, they did give a lot of things to us.
Yeah, I would like to add to the points other panelists mentioned. Yeah, besides all the operation, but I would say railway communication is one of the most important point which without British, I mean, India has most, I would say, most connected railway service in the world, where, you know, now, and the cheapest, yeah, cheapest and, you know, well-connected railway system in the world. I think the British was, during their British period, it started and it developed, and then it continued to grow.
So obviously British did not come with the right intention. They did not come to develop India or do the welfare for India. Their sole intention was to rob India as much as possible and treat us like an animal, right? So that was their intention. But I think they took a lot of the valuable things from India in their museum. The most expensive gem and jewelry from India in British Museum are from India. But all friends, what they're saying is, you know, the byproduct of their ruling to India, there is some good thing happen. You know, people touch on the railway network is a good thing happen. India is also a very diverse country. You know, every single state has their own language, script. Today, because of English, we are connected. You know, you can see that, because otherwise that would be another gap we would have been struggling today. But I would definitely say that we Indians stood up very good against the British. If you see in Latin America, where many of the countries are ruled by Spanish, their identity and their culture is completely wiped out. But in India, we hold on to that very well, you know. Of course, we kept some of the good things they left behind unintentionally, but I think we played smart with them. Thank you.
I think we need to stop because the next program is here.
We have a wonderful lunch, but
she wants like 10 seconds.
I just want to just call attention. There's a couple posters there. One of them is the two missionaries that actually saved the Assamese language, and then also the World War II veterans from America that died in Assam, actually. And so the memorial says, "We gave our today for your tomorrow." So it's kind of forgotten history. A lot of people don't know the World War II history of Northeast.
Because we are talking about colonial rule in India, the British rule, so I just want to highlight here that right now in Nagaland, there is a group, repatriation of ancestral remains from the British Museum. So Nagas are spearheading that because we did not know all this while that our human remains from our ancestors were shown in Peace River Museum and so many museums around the world, ethnographical museums. And my sister Dolly Kikon and the Naga team, they studied, my sister studied social anthropology, and after going around the world, they saw all this and they said, no, in our culture, it's important that the dead be buried in peace. So they have started this negotiation. Several community leaders have come together, and there is a solid group that's formed in Nagaland within all the tribal leaders, and they've gone to London, and then they've discussed this. So I think we have come to a point where we are all educated, we are all exposed, we can think. So we need to re-examine our lives and our cultures right now, what we are practicing, to see how was it and what have we just accepted. So I think for Nagas, this repatriation of our ancestral remains have become so important that, our culture, our ancestor, we question this and find a solution together with the museums to go forward. Thank you.
A big round of applause.
War memorials, and there's, which is very important, like American who fought for us in World War II. They're in their cemeteries. There's a very touching line called, "We gave our today for your tomorrow." We were very young. So we have documented, and this was prepared by Kishore Sharon, who's one of the journalists. This photos. Then Pami, Dr. Pami she's one of the backbone of our Guwahati in the university. Then Hans and me. So please, we are presenting this with that, and definitely, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So everything is handmade too. So she made these at home. Everything is organic. Thank you so much. We'll move on now to our next program, and we have lunch coming up after that. So, and you'll be coming up and doing bihu. So have some dancing.